The Vietnam War was unlike any conflict before it. No clear front lines, no predictable enemy. It was a conflict that defied the expectations of both military strategists and the soldiers on the ground, rewriting the very rules of engagement. American forces, trained for conventional battles, found themselves in a hostile jungle, facing an enemy that vanished into the shadows. The dense, humid terrain was as much an adversary as the Viet Cong themselves, sapping strength and morale with every step. The Viet Cong mastered guerrilla warfare, using the land to their advantage, striking fast and disappearing before Americans could react. They blended seamlessly with the jungle, making it nearly impossible to distinguish friend from foe. This hit-and-run strategy created constant fear and uncertainty. Every rustle in the undergrowth, every sudden silence could signal an ambush. For American GIs, the enemy could be anywhere, hidden, silent, and deadly. The jungle itself seemed to conspire against them, concealing dangers at every turn. It was a war of shadows, where every step could be a trap. Booby traps and hidden explosives turned even the most routine patrol into a life-or-death gamble. Imagine being on patrol, senses straining when gunfire erupts from nowhere, then silence, the enemy gone. The tension was relentless, and the threat never truly disappeared. The Viet Cong's ability to control the battlefield and vanish at will wore down American morale. Exhaustion and anxiety became constant companions for the troops. The Americans had firepower, but the Viet Cong had the jungle, and a secret weapon beneath it. Beneath the surface, a hidden network was waiting to be discovered. The U.S. military, built for open combat, was forced to adapt to ambushes, booby traps, and an enemy that seemed to melt into the earth. Traditional tactics offered little protection in this new kind of war. The biggest challenge, finding where the enemy was hiding. The Viet Cong could strike from anywhere, then disappear without a trace. The answer wasn't in the trees or hills. The real threat was far more elusive, hidden from sight. It was right under their feet, in a hidden world that would demand a new kind of hero. The underground tunnels became the new front lines, dark and claustrophobic. The war was about to go underground. Here, in the darkness, a different kind of courage would be tested. And the real battle was just beginning, as American soldiers prepared to face the unknown beneath the jungle floor. The Viet Cong's true advantage was their vast network of underground tunnels. These weren't just escape routes. They were hidden bases, command centers, hospitals, and supply depots. From these tunnels, the Viet Cong could launch surprise attacks, then vanish without a trace. The tunnels allowed them to live and fight right under the Americans' noses, often undetected for weeks. This underground world nullified much of the U.S. military's technological edge. The psychological impact was huge. Soldiers never knew if the ground beneath them was safe. The tunnels turned the landscape into a weapon, letting a smaller force stand against a superpower. Bombs rained down above, but the Viet Cong were safe below, planning their next move. To win, Americans would have to conquer the darkness beneath the jungle. For months, American forces were mystified by the elusive tactics of the Viet Cong, unable to understand how their enemies could simply vanish into the dense Vietnamese jungle. Patrols would sweep through areas, only to find the Viet Cong gone without a trace, leaving behind empty trails and a sense of unease. The truth finally emerged when soldiers stumbled upon hidden trapdoors, narrow, expertly camouflaged entrances that led to a vast, secret underground maze. The most famous of these was the Cu Chi Tunnel System, an astonishing network stretching over 250 kilometers near Saigon, weaving beneath villages, fields, and even military bases. These tunnels formed a multi-level underground city, complete with crawl spaces, meeting halls, makeshift hospitals, and workshops where weapons and supplies were crafted. Built painstakingly by hand, often at night and with the simplest of tools, the tunnels were narrow, winding, and filled with deadly booby traps to deter intruders. Punji sticks, tripwires, and even venomous snakes were hidden in the darkness, waiting for any unwelcome guests who dared to enter. The tunnels allowed the Viet Cong to live, train, and launch surprise attacks deep within enemy territory, all while remaining virtually invisible to American forces above. For the U.S. military, this discovery changed everything. They realized they weren't just fighting a war above ground anymore. but also in the shadowy world below. Bombing and artillery proved useless. The tunnels were too deep, too complex, and too well hidden to be destroyed from the air. A new kind of soldier was needed, one who could take the fight underground, crawling through darkness and danger in search of the enemy. Thus began the era of the tunnel rat. Brave men who faced the unknown beneath the earth, forever changing the nature of the Vietnam War. The American command needed a new solution. Regular soldiers couldn't survive the tunnels. Enter the tunnel rats volunteers, small in stature but immense in courage. They squeezed through passages barely 2 feet wide, facing darkness, booby traps, and the unknown. Selection was simple. Only those with nerves of steel and no fear of tight spaces could do the job. Tunnel rats operated alone, relying on sharp instincts and steady hands. They were methodical, patient, and unflinching under pressure. These men didn't seek glory. They accepted the risks as part of their duty. They formed a tight brotherhood, respected and feared by their peers. The tunnel rats were the only ones who could confront the Viet Cong in their underground world. Their existence was a testament to adaptability and raw courage. Tunnel rats carried only what they needed. No bulky rifles or heavy packs. Every ounce mattered in the suffocating, cramped tunnels beneath the jungle. Before entering, they stripped down to the bare essentials, leaving behind anything that could snag or slow them down. Their main weapon, a pistol, usually a .45 or .38, was chosen for its compact size, making it ideal for the tight, twisting passages. In the darkness, a large weapon was more a liability than an asset. Some tunnel rats carried sawn-off shotguns, prized for their devastating close-range firepower. The blast could clear a tunnel in an instant, but the noise and recoil were risks they had to weigh carefully. A reliable flashlight was essential, often gripped alongside the pistol. Its narrow beam cut through the pitch black, revealing hidden dangers. But it could also give away their position if used carelessly. A sturdy knife was used for probing the earth for booby traps, cutting through tangled roots, and sometimes for silent defense. It was a tool as much as a weapon, always within reach. Communication was basic. A rope tied to the surface, tugged for signals. One tug meant all clear. 2 meant trouble. It was a lifeline, both literally and figuratively, connecting them to the world above. Tunnel rats moved slowly, inch by inch, feeling for tripwires and listening for any sign of danger. Every sense was on high alert, every movement deliberate and cautious. Sometimes they turned off their lights, relying on touch and sound alone. In total darkness, even the faintest noise could mean life or death. Unlike other soldiers, they worked alone. No backup, no air support, just their wits and training. Each mission was a test of nerve and skill. Every descent was a solitary duel in the dark, a battle fought in silence and shadow. Their skills combined those of a bomb disposal expert, a hunter, and a survivor. They had to anticipate traps, sense danger, and react in an instant. Survival depended on being quieter, smarter, and faster than the enemy waiting in the shadows. In the tunnels, hesitation could be fatal, and only the most resourceful made it back to the surface. The tunnel rats' stories are legends of courage and survival. Pedro Rejo Ruiz, a Cuban-American, could smell the enemy and once led his unit to capture a Viet Cong command post without firing a shot. Robert Batten became an expert at disarming booby traps, saving countless lives by clearing tunnels inch by inch. Dangers were everywhere: close-quarters shootouts, venomous snakes, and ambushes from hidden alcoves. The Viet Cong used the tunnels for psychological warfare, turning every corner into a potential death trap. Survival required constant vigilance and instincts honed to a razor's edge. These men weren't reckless, they were highly skilled, facing death to protect their brothers above. Their bravery was measured not just in combat, but in their mental resilience. They went into the abyss because it was their job, and their actions saved lives. The price of being a tunnel rat was steep, physically and mentally. Tunnels were filled with scorpions, snakes, and disease. Air was hot and thin, spaces cramped and suffocating. Hours underground left men bruised, exhausted, and often sick. But the mental toll was worse: claustrophobia, constant fear, and the trauma of facing death alone. Many suffered from what we now call PTSD, haunted by memories of darkness and violence. The isolation of their work meant they bore this burden alone. Most could only serve as tunnel rats for a short time before burning out. Their senses, once vital for survival, became a curse in normal life. They returned home changed, carrying invisible scars. The tunnel rat's legacy is a reminder of the hidden costs of war. In the story of the Vietnam War, tunnel rats are the unsung heroes. Their success wasn't measured in territory, but in lives saved and enemy strongholds destroyed. Every tunnel cleared, every trap disarmed, made the surface safer for their fellow soldiers. Their courage and skills were critical to the war effort, countering the Viet Cong's most effective weapon. The intelligence they brought back saved countless lives. They proved that bravery and ingenuity can outweigh sheer force. The tunnel rat's legacy is one of quiet heroism and extraordinary endurance. They didn't seek medals, just survival, and the knowledge they protected their comrades. Their story is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. In the darkness beneath Vietnam, they became legends.